There's a dick in my mouth?
In your mouth.
With balls?
A drawing.
With balls, a drawing.
Like a graffiti dick.
It's not in your mouth. It's kind of grazing your lips.
They grazed your lips with the dick. How hilarious is that?
They ruined my poster, my billboard. They
did.
ruined it.
I'm sorry.
I have
I'm sorry.
one more detail to share.
What?
You're cradling the ball.
You're listening to League Podcast, Curbcast, Season 12, Episode 6, Gettysburg Address. I'm Matt Durson.
Captain Inferno here.
Get that dick out of your mouth. I was joking with, off air earlier today when we were texting a little bit that this one, not so much just the penis graffiti, but just all the Larry and Jeff talking about, it's some jizz on it. I'm like, I'm like, we're going to have to put the explicit tag on this one. This is, there's a lot going on with this one. So I like it. I mean, like we're coming towards the end of the run, and I feel like they're just like getting everything in. But this is always what Curb has been about. You know what I mean? Like all the different storylines coming together. So
I feel like this was a really, really, really funny episode. Stacy was in the shower when I was watching it, and I was laugh out loud, funny, guffawing.
Guffawing, yes.
Yeah, that's how
I guffawed much the same way Larry guffawed when he saw the penis on Susie's billboard, because I did not see that one coming. You know what I mean? Like that's not a joke that I expected out of this. I don't know why. I just never did, and it just cracked me up so much.
Yeah, and that's Larry's laugh, like when his jaw's all flapping. That's his genuine laugh. You ever seen him like on a talk show or something, and he's like really having a good time? He laughs like a cartoon.
He does. You can definitely tell when he's really laughing as opposed to acting, like a person who's laughing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is, it's almost like he had never seen the actual thing, or it just cracks him up every time, which is probably the case when he looks at that sign.
Right. It's really funny.
All right. We'll get there, though. We'll get there because there's a lot that, as we said, that goes on in this episode. And we start with Larry and Leon are at this place called Shimon's All-You-Can-Eat Buffet. And Leon is going to town at this all-you-can-eat buffet.
Are these fresh meatballs? What the fuck is this?
I know.
Fresh crab legs?
I know. He gets everything. And he wants it fresh. I mean, like, I haven't been to one of these all-you-can-eat places in a while. I guess there aren't a lot of them around here. There used to be like that old country buffet. Did you ever go to those kinds of places?
No, but I do sometimes go, and I used to go more when I lived at my old place. There's a Chinese buffet place that's all you can eat down the street from me here. And sometimes I'll go in there and they do to go, and you load up one of those styrofoam containers and they weigh it. And that's how you pay for all you can eat. Or we've sat down in there before too. And it's not that great, but I always know that there's hot food in there and I can get it like in my mouth immediately, because when I'm hungry, I always want to eat now. I don't want to wait for them to make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, anyway, so meanwhile, Larry is, they show Larry in the restroom at the urinal and then he comes out and he asks Leon if he's ever thought about how much time he wastes urinating in his life. Like basically and not just Leon, literally everybody, how much time we waste urinating. So that's,
and you think it's going to be kind of a throwaway joke, but it becomes like a big part of the story.
Yeah, it's a big part of the episode. Yeah. And Leon, he doesn't really think about how much time, but he thinks about, he wants a car that runs on piss.
The Pius.
The Pius. Yeah. And he describes to Larry how much you drink a lot of water, put your dick up to that little hole, like just pull over to the side of the road and piss in there, and then you have like a full tank of gas. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's possible, but there are those people who have those cars that supposedly run on like oil from like McDonald's or something. You ever heard of this?
Yeah, that's popular in the music community. They'll take
Oh, really?
They call it like a conversion. They convert their tour bus, and a lot of times they're like old school buses.
Right.
And they go into restaurants and say like, "Hey, you got any old oil?" And they say like on the back like powered by vegetable oil.
Oh, so it works? It actually...
Yeah, it works. They have like a special kind of engine. You have to like, you can't just put it in a regular car.
Right.
But
right.
You can take your bus apart and put a new engine in there and replace all the fueling, and it runs on that stuff.
Wow, all right. That's
It's
cool.
basically, I think it's like a diesel engine. They call it like biodiesel.
Oh, how about that? There you go. Well, I guess it's good. I mean, it's good.
I don't even know if they do that too much anymore, but I think that was like an early 2000s thing. All the hip bands would be like, yeah, we converted our school bus.
Well, I mean, I guess with the price of gas, I mean, if restaurants are just going to throw it away anyway, so.
Yeah, and this was kind of before electric cars were sort of more popular too,
I tell you, I've thought, sometimes when I'm paying what I pay for gas these days, I'm like, damn, man, wish I could just go to McDonald's or whatever. Leon tries to go to get another plate. Larry's giving him a little bit of shit because it's like his fourth one. And I think that's actually what gets the attention of Shimon, who owns the restaurant. And he is played by Ike Barinholtz.
That guy's hilarious.
Yeah, no,
from like Always Sunny and everything.
Yeah, he is very funny. And he was on Mindy Project and yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff. So yeah, he comes over and he says, no, you cut off. And Leon's like, it's all you can eat. And, he fights about it. He's like, not all you can eat. There has to be some limits and whatever. He's yelling at him. He's like, well, who are you? And he says, and Leon says, he's the Wendy of this motherfucker or something like that. And he's like, yes, I'm the Wendy. It's just.
He's like, do you want me to put on the little pigtails and freckles? You can when you get the fuck out of here. He kicks him out.
They are banned.
Bans Leon for life.
Yep, Leon is banned. Which is really funny to me. I don't know. I that's like a thing. They did that on Seinfeld before too. Kramer was banned from a fruit stand, but he really liked the fruit and whatever. And so he sent Jerry in, and then Jerry got banned, and like it was just, I don't know, it was just funny.
Yeah, so he was saying like, and Larry, even though they get into this big argument, and he's like, you ate a reasonable amount of food, pointing to Larry. And he's like, I only had one plate because the food stinks. And then they go, you stink, you stink, you stink, you stink. You're banned, you're banned, you're banned. You still have a chance. You can come back. He's like, okay. And then on the way out, he's like, it's like, I don't ever want to see you. The only other person I had to ban from here was Gary Busey.
Yeah, I know. Gary Busey was.
And Larry checks in. He's like, but I'm okay. He's like, yeah, you're okay.
He's like defending Leon, but he's also kind of like, but I can come back. Like it's really, but yeah, so it's kind of like fake defense of Leon. But yeah, and then Leon says, "Fuck you, Wendy." What's a great like. But then they go out, and Leon's still hungry, so he wants dessert. And he says, "Don't leave me here." But I think Larry does. But like before that, Larry sees Ted Danson. And he says, hey, how's it going? And they chat. And he says he's playing Lincoln in a new play. And Lori Loughlin is playing Mary Todd. And he says, hey, can you do me a favor? She's a big golfer, but no country clubs will touch her because of, the Varsity Blues scandal.
Yeah, she paid. What was it? Like she paid somebody to get her daughter into college or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I mean, she bribed. Yeah, I mean,
I got to tell you, sometimes like that's like a name that I know, but it's not really a celebrity I kind of would care about at all. You know what I mean? Like
right.
Even Sienna Miller, kind of in a way. It's like I had to like look her up. when it's like, wait, who is that? Like, I recognize the name, but why? You know what I mean?
Right. No, absolutely. I did too when it came to Sienna Miller. I do remember Laura. Well, I remember the scandal, but even before that, I was like, I think she was on Seinfeld, and that was how I remembered her, which she was. But we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna say that I found that to be, and maybe because at the time I worked at a college, and I just found that pretty shitty. I mean, I was not a fan of that. And like Larry's kind of like, oh well, yeah, I'm for pulling for the underdog. Like, nah, that's shitty. I don't care if you're rich. You should. I mean, as it is, a lot of rich people get their kids into college anyway. But I think she was just more overt about it. I mean, just,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, name a building, whatever. But like, she was just whatever. But that kind of pissed me off. But like here, I don't know. Now I don't know how to feel because here she's clearly laughing at herself. So
yeah, I mean, it was long enough ago that everyone can kind of be like, oh, all right,
Yeah, right. But anyway, she's been blackballed from all the country clubs, and he says maybe you can get her into yours. And Larry's like, sure, I can try, I mean, I'll put a good word in. And he's like, oh,
well, yeah,
thanks.
Larry
Great.
really wants to play up his underdog thing since he
right after the whole Atlanta thing. So then, here's this though. So this is, I know, nothing gets by me, but Ted says, yeah, you worked with her on Seinfeld, right? And Larry says, no, I wasn't there for that episode. And Ted, just like the therapist a couple episodes ago, says, oh, but you came back for the finale, right? And Larry pauses for a second and says, yeah, I was back for the finale. So it's
what does this mean? Be the Seinfeld interpreter here, because this one we're meant as the audience to really reflect on that. Like, because Larry's has this look in his face, and he's kind of
all right
camera almost is like, well, like, why is he so reflective about that? Why is it being mentioned to him twice now?
I mean, okay, this is a funny thing, and I feel like even people, it was 26, I guess, almost years ago, the Seinfeld finale, and it was pretty much universally panned as being terrible. Like, and I know most finales usually don't satisfy everybody, right? But
yeah,
this one was panned. Like, everybody thought it was stupid, and it's not great. And I'm not gonna lie to you, as a fan of the show, I don't know, it wasn't great. So I think this is Larry either, I don't know, I think because he was brought back specifically to work in the finale, and I think he probably thought he did a good job, and everyone else hated it. So either he's trying, I don't know, like Larry on the show, I don't know. Like, this is, where it gets weird. Like, which Larry are we talking to? I'm sure Larry, in real life, Larry doesn't care, but he might think it's funny. People will still talk about bad that finale was. And I think he thinks, like, I don't know, like, this is almost his chance to do it right. Or, I mean, Larry, I don't know, like, we'll see. But they're definitely building towards it, because that's twice that they've mentioned that he worked in the finale. So,
and yeah, I mean, is it just like Chekhov's finale? Like, yeah, as we've kind of said before, like, how are they going to recreate it or something?
Yeah, I think it's probably bringing up a lot of memories for people, and we'll see. But like I said, it's been many years. People can probably laugh at it now, and I think that's what Larry's doing. So I don't know if you remember, even on the Seinfeld reunion episode, the Seinfeld reunion season of Curb, right? And he's going around, and he was sitting with Jason Alexander, and he's like, yeah, we're going to, do you want to come back to do like a revival? And Jason Alexander says, yeah, we can finally make up for the finale. And Larry's like, there was nothing wrong with the finale.
It's been a long-tailed joke within Curb.
Exactly. Even in Curb, it's been brought up a few times. So I just want to point out too. So Lori Loughlin was on one of my favorite episodes, which was, she played Jerry's girlfriend, and
was she on like more than once?
No,
You
she
know?
was only on once.
Okay.
But to me, it was very memorable. She like played his girlfriend, and like she's like, oh, like I made plans to do this tonight, and he's like, oh, I had tickets to the Knicks game. She's like, oh, well, I made plans for this, and he's like, all right, and she's like, well, aren't you mad? And he's like, no, it's fine, we can do whatever, like, and she's like, why don't you get mad? And he's like, I don't know. And he's like, you never get mad. And then she wants him to express himself, like show some emotions. And then once he expresses a little bit of emotion at all, like Pandora's box, it all just opens. He
It all
gets
comes
emotional
flying
about
out.
everything. Yeah. It's one of my favorite things. The emotional Jerry. At one point he's crying and he says, what is this salty discharge? Like he doesn't know what it is. It's really
I
funny.
vaguely remember this episode too.
Yeah. It is a classic. So before Lori Loughlin was a scandalous person, she was on a classic episode of Seinfeld. So check it out. All right. So anyways, Larry, he leaves Ted. Ted actually says, oh, you can come to the play too, which is nice. Come see him as Lincoln. I don't know if you remember, there was a previous episode where Ted Danson played Robert E. Lee. Kind of funny. He's playing all these Civil War.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah. Anyway, so he goes to see the sort of like Susie is unveiling her new billboard for her new business.
Catches caftan.
Catches Caftan. The billboard is just her sitting in like a robe, like a caftan, like a robe. And Larry's like, look at this. You're plastered all over Santa Monica Boulevard here. And she's like, isn't it great? They're just shooting the shit about it. And then he says, no, I got to go. I got a date with Sienna Miller. And he's like, yeah, because of Atlanta. Because she's like, she doesn't want to do it. You old fuck. Like she gets.
Right.
And Susie says, hey, why don't you mention Catches Caftan? It would flow beautifully on her figure, she says. And Larry says, you think she's going to wear that fucking thing? Larry goes home and he goes into his bathroom and he puts a copy of the Gettysburg Address on the wall to read while he's taking a piss. Just that's what he's going to do. He wants to.
Yeah, he's going to educate himself because he's going to spend all these hours urinating and not learning anything.
Now, do you remember? I don't remember what season or what episode. There was an episode where Larry and Jeff had a conversation. All right, so this is going to be long. Larry showed up at Jeff's house with a cane, right? And Jeff said, what's this? What's with the cane? He says, oh, I fell off the toilet because Cheryl's father-in-law left the seat up or whatever. And he's like, what? How does that matter to you? And he's like, well, I pee sitting down. And he's like, you pee sitting down? And he's like, yeah, because I like to read. He said he liked to read the New York Times. He's like, if I pee 20 times a day, I can read the whole New York Times. And Jeff's like, why are you peeing 20 times a day? But yeah, so that was the whole. So this is not the first time that Larry has tried to do something while he's urinating. But anyway, so yeah, he starts reading the Gettysburg Address. He puts it above his toilet. It's pretty funny. Sienna Miller. So this date has been built up now for like the whole season, basically. And they're going to her new movie. It's like one of those.
Yeah, because even Susie says, "Wait, Irma's gone."
Oh yeah,
she's gone.
That's right, she's gone. I know. Yeah, he says he's out there, but yeah, so he's got. They're going to her new movie, and it's Friends and Family. Is like the one of those screenings that it's not like for people, it's just friends and family or whatever, I guess. But they're sitting down, they're joking like, you can't have my popcorn or whatever and all that. And then she says she's nervous. He's like, oh, aren't you shooting another movie? And she says, yeah, I'm like Rachel and the Rug Merchants. And he's like, what is that? And she says, oh, it's a Jewish parable. And I was like, I don't know. I don't think he believes her Jewish, conversion thing.
Yeah, he's like, I never heard of that. And then he's like, what? So what is it with her and the Rug Merchants? Are they having an affair? Did she,
right?
Did she measure her tent and get the wrong size? And was there a stain on it? Did she want a discount?
I know. He's trying to find out about this fake.
And the movie starts to play and like, or they dissolve into the movie playing, but they kind of like fade out of him like keeping like all these different things. So what happened with him?
Yeah,
what
what
did
happened with the
Rachel do?
record? Yeah. This movie looks so ridiculous. Like Sienna Miller is wearing this ridiculous like wig. I mean, I whatever, actresses wear wigs a lot, but like it becomes part of the plot later. But yeah, she's wearing. I was like, who is that? Oh, that's Sienna Miller.
Yeah, and it's like it's very much like a Susie Essman, like very Jew-fro-y kind of wig,
It kind of is. And like she's running around a park, her son has been lost, and she's eating like an apple while she's like screaming his name, looking for him, and it's very dramatic.
Well, did you notice too? Like she looks down or the camera pans, and it's like a Godzilla.
Yeah,
it's a
that.
Godzilla toy dropped,
Godzilla
and it kind of like it kind of had echoes of like the T2 like playground scene, like
yeah, kind of
like zooming, like the empty swing, the toys being dropped and stuff. Yeah. And I think it's always funny when they have to shoot a movie. Like they had to shoot this part, which I'm sure they can do with their regular like red cameras and drones or whatever. But I was like, oh, they like made this look like a movie. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, the movie in a movie or movie in a TV show or
the dialogue and stuff is like completely ridiculous. She's like, "Have you seen Johnny Crunch?" She's biting her apple.
Yeah, she's eating the apple.
He's wearing a green and black checkered shirt. Crunch into the apple to like some dog walker. He's like, "No, I haven't seen anything, man."
Yeah, so Larry actually leans over to. He's like, "I noticed you eat a lot of fruit in your movies." Like, and he starts bringing up like all kinds of weird fruits, like oh, yeah, like not boysenberry, because that was the one a couple episodes ago. I forget what the fruit was. He was like, yeah,
it was another berry. It was like elderberry or something like that.
Some kind of fruit. And she's like you could tell she's like not. She's kind of put off or whatever, and she's like, I'm trying to watch.
And at first I thought maybe he kind of was being critic about it, but he's just being Larry, just like asking a question. Like he's kind of like psychoanalyzing it. Maybe it helps. He's just kind of like he's almost encouraging. Like he thinks she should eat the fruit. Like
yeah, it's like part of her process.
Maybe it's part of your process. It's just you, and she didn't realize it. It's like a tick she has or something.
Yeah, like and he's like, oh, like he's not being critical. I think he's just legitimately wondering if this is a thing that she does. Yeah, and then she's just like, I'm trying to watch. So he's like, all right. So he takes his jacket off and drapes it over the back of his chair, like the way the shoulders over the sides, kind of, like I don't even know how to describe it, but when you hang a jacket on a chair. The guy behind him is like, hey, you're in my area. And he's like, no, this is perfectly draped or beautifully draped, I think he says. And they go back and forth for a while. He's like, oh, you're and this is where am I supposed to put the jacket? And the guy says, put the seat in front of you. He's like, put the seat in front of me. Like, it's just really funny. Like they have that sort of yelling, that movie theater yelling, And Sienna Miller's like, would you stop it? And then he leans over her and says, by the way, you're very good. That was pretty funny. So then we have another scene of Larry memorizing the Gettysburg Address while he's peeing. And when he's at the club to speak on behalf of Lori Loughlin, he does it sort of in the style of Abe Lincoln. He sort of quotes the Gettysburg Address.
This is so funny, like all his little ad libs. Like 87 years ago, they set aside this parcel of land to make sure that men could have fun and women could not. But times have changed for the better. And then he was like saying other stuff that's probably like direct references to the Gettysburg Address, like just like Hiram Goldblatt, who donated this parcel of land. And then he's like, takes a pause and goes, to play pickleball.
Pickleball. That's great. I love, he says something, like of specific people, by specific people, and for specific people. Because it's a club. Yeah, like it doesn't let everybody in. So it's almost
Right.
like the anti-Gettysburg Address.
And then he
It's
wraps it
classic.
into Auntie Ray at the end. He goes, and just like that woman was thirsty in Atlanta, Larry Laughlin is thirsty.
That's right.
Let her
And so, he comes out. He's like, "You're all in." Like, tells her she's good, and you just have to play a couple of rounds with the members, with the members, and I'll play with you. So, like, that's just kind of set up for later. Meanwhile, he's driving home. He drives past Susie's billboard, and as we pointed out, there is a giant penis next to her mouth. And like, I didn't know if they were gonna like mention this or if they just did it to be funny. But yeah, she definitely, the way her hands are sort of like out, she looks like she on the balls. It's just it cracked me up. It cracks up Larry. It's hilarious. Yeah. So he goes to Jeff and Susie's house, and Jeff and he are cracking up too. Like Larry and Jeff are cracking up. And Susie's like mad that they're so happy. And she's like, "I'm gonna get them to take that down." And she said, "I don't even give blowjobs, do I, Jeff?" And Jeff's like, "Well, I mean, you could."
So he goes, "What, do you want me to agree with you?" But Jeff is dying laughing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And Larry thinks that her business is, he's like, "You're gonna get more business this way." And people are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, did you see that?" Like, anyways, then Jeff asked him about Sienna, and he says, "Oh, I texted her twice. She never texted me back." And he says they're having some problems with her on that new movie. And Larry's like, "I wonder if it's the fruit." And he starts to think about that whole fruit thing. And then he goes to the bathroom. He starts reciting the Gettysburg Address, and they're like, "Hey, shut up in there!"
That's enough.
So he's going home. He pulls over. He sees Shimon jogging, and he won't stop. Like, he's like, "Oh, hey, I need to talk to you," and he won't. He does that jogging in place thing, which is pretty annoying. He's like, "Can you stop jogging?" He's like, "No, I have to keep going." So he asks him about Leon, about like, maybe unbanning him, and it was like it's a really weird conversation because he's like, "What about all you can eat?" It says all you can eat. And he said, "Well, within reason," or whatever. He's like, "You don't masturbate more," or something. Like he said, "If you have a sign in your room that says masturbate or something."
Shimon says, "Let's say you have a sign in your bedroom. It says you can masturbate all you want, but you masturbate 5 times.
Yeah.
You're going to masturbate a 6th time?" And Larry says, "No, you can't do it that many times. There's no water left."
Yeah, so just like you pointed out earlier, the well is run dry.
Yeah, and Trevor goes, "And it's because you're ashamed." And Larry goes, "If you were ashamed, why would you do it 5 other times?"
Now LD is banned as well, and he's like, "Oh, come on, you think I give a shit about this?" Or whatever. It's like, "The shit is gone from my life." I think he says something like that. And then it's really funny. He says, "Hey, you're from Israel. Have you ever heard about Rachel and the Rug Merchants?" And he's like, "No, I never heard of it." And then he says, "Shalom, bitch."
Well, he said, "I know the tale of Rachel." Rachel said,
Right.
said, "You're banned." To the Rug Merchants.
That's right. So anyways, here he is. Laurie Laughlin is golfing with Larry and some of the members, and she's there ready to start. She's all excited. And Larry says, "Oh, like they don't allow carts today or whatever. There's some rule right now, like you can't have carts."
I looked that up because I'm so like not a sporty, but I guess sometimes if the grounds are wet, they don't want the carts on the green.
Right. I think it must mess up
It says
the
like
grass.
a no cart day or something.
Yeah, like a no cart day. And she says, "Oh no, not a problem for me." And she takes out this blue flag, which is like, I guess, like a handicap sort of, or whatever, like almost, well, because later on she does have a handicap sticker on her car. But yeah, like this is basically like saying, "I need this."
Yeah, Larry's like,
cart.
"Wait, you need a doctor's note for that."
Yeah, she says, "Oh yeah, I have Epstein-Barr." And he's like, "Really?" And she said, "Well, one hematologist thinks so."
What did the other hematologist say?
Yeah, he's kind of at this point he's a little confused, but he doesn't really suspect anything. But they go over, they're playing golf, and I guess it's 2-on-2. And we've seen this before. Larry will wager on, the game, like a friendly wager with whoever he's playing. And so she's like, "Come on, Larry, I want to beat those bastards. We need to make this putt. I want to win some money." And he misses the putt. And she's like, "Way to read a green." She's like, really mean. Anyways, yeah, she also, they're done. She also invites him to the play. And yeah, her car is there and she has a handicap sticker. And he said, "Oh, because of the Epstein bar?" She's like, "What?" She didn't even remember her own
she
line.
forgot that.
So anyways, now we have this great sort of montage of Larry pissing everywhere in public restrooms, and he's got the Gettysburg Address with him. He brings a small little printout of the Gettysburg Address everywhere. They even show him pissing by the side of the road, in the grass.
Yeah, reciting. Now it's just memory. Now he's just memorizing it and doing the dialogue as if he was in the play. Now, since we know that I'm going to go off on a thing that I predicted would happen in the episode that didn't. But I was like, so Ted's going to be Lincoln, and parallel time, for no other reason that Larry wants to learn it, he's learning the Gettysburg Address. We already saw him apply his new skills to Lori Loughlin. But also, I was like, what's going to happen? Is Ted going to not be able to do the Gettysburg Address, and Larry will have to finish it from the audience, or have to go backstage and put on the costume and act it out for Ted because he can't remember it or something? I was just
I was thinking the same thing. I thought he's going to have to sub in for Ted or something like that. Yeah. But I don't say, do you think he did the Gettysburg, he picked the Gettysburg Address because Ted said he was Lincoln? You know what I mean? It was kind of in his head.
No, I don't think so.
You think it was just random? He could have picked anything. He could have picked.
He's yeah. I think it's a convenient thing that he remembered.
All right. Yeah. It's fine. But I was just curious.
Yeah, I don't think that he was I don't know. I don't think he was jealous of Ted or anything.
No. I don't mean that. I just mean it was something because he's like, what could I do?
Yeah, maybe he was like, oh, or I guess, he put the thought in his head that Ted was going to be in that thing. He's like, oh, well, maybe I'll learn the Gettysburg Address.
Yeah, he's going to be Lincoln. I'll do the Gettysburg Address. He could have picked anything, but I don't know. But I love it. When he gets to the end in a public men's room, a bunch of people applaud. It's classic. So meanwhile, late at night,
he's at the basketball game and just reciting it as he's pissing in there.
Yeah, and everybody's like, yeah. So meanwhile, him and Leon, late at night, they drive up to Shimon's and they just paint "not" in front of all you can eat. It's just so weird. I know why they did it, but it's so funny. It's "not all you can eat." And then Leon, as he's running away after he paints it, he goes, "Fuck you, Shimon." He gets in the car and they drive away.
he goes 5 pounds of short ribs and 10 pounds of "fuck you, Shimon."
That's right. So yeah, meanwhile, Susie is getting a post-penis bump, they say. She's getting a bump in sales. Sales are up. And then they said, you know what you need? You need a second dick. How about one up the ass? They get really with a little jizz. It's hilarious. How they get really
Yeah, because she's saying my CFO just got off the phone with me and he's saying that we've gotten 250% more sales.
Yeah, but she still wants to take it down. She still wants the penis gone. But they're like, you should get a second penis. You should double down on it.
And she goes, Warren Buffett never had a plan that included a penis on the face.
Right.
That's not how he got
Warren
rich.
Buffett. Yeah.
And then and as Larry's talking about the dicks, Jeff goes, wow, it sounds like you're in a musical. Because he just keeps saying dicks and dicks and dicks over and over again. And then Larry goes, as a shrewd businesswoman, I think it's incumbent on you to consider this as an option. So just strictly as far as money's concerned,
Right.
consider that this is beneficial to you. Maybe you should have another dick up the ass or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And a little bit of jizz on your chest. So, all right. So next he goes to see Sienna Miller on the set of her movie. It's the movie is The Riveter. She's in costume as Rosie the Riveter. He knows it's not going well, and she's like, he's apologizing for the jacket thing, but she's like, Larry, I don't care. This is not going well. I think I'm gonna get fired. And he says, well, it's because of the fruit. And he takes a pear out of his pocket. So they go. She's filming a scene, again, a very emotional scene. And she takes out the pear and she starts eating it. It's about she finds out her husband has been killed in the war. And
so I have to interrupt. So
yeah.
So I paused it because I was like, what is so familiar about this? And then what is on the back of Larry's director's chair? And it's the story of Rosie the Riveter. It's called The Riveter, and there's a picture of her, her supposedly her main character. She's the famous Rosie the Riveter with the flexing, looking awesome, and everything like that. And she's got her hair in the Liberty rolls and
it's bright red.
She's just it's bright red. The general, the military guy comes up and hands her a letter and finds out her husband died in World War II, and because he went to flight school. And the mom is there sleeping, and she's like snoring, and she kind of looks like the mom from The Sopranos, but she's like snoring. She's snoring, and she's like, I'll make some coffee, like very picturesque, like 50s housewife thing.
Right. Well, she blames her. She's like, it's your fault. You told him to go into the Air Force. He didn't want to go to the Air Force. And then she spits the pear out on him.
Yeah, she spits it on the sleeping grandma. It's so funny.
She's like, it's just... Yeah, and so Larry is sitting there. They're all the crews are. It's apparently the actual crew of Curb, which is great.
That is funny. Oh, and the little nod right before she goes into her monologue where Larry fakes bites into the apple, bite into it, encouraging her. That was really funny too.
And the director turns to him as she's doing it, and they're like, yeah, she's got it. And they were like, that was fantastic. It was great. I mean, it's so perfect. But I mean, so ridiculous that she's eating a pear while she's doing
And wouldn't you think that if something so specific like eating a pear, eating anything in a movie is written into the script or the direction or something, just you're just going to incorporate a pear into the scene or in all of her movies.
Right, where it has
even he said
point.
Didn't you eat a lot of fruit in Anatomy of a Scandal as well?
Yeah. And she was all like, I don't even like fruit, Larry. But yeah, they're all happy. She comes over, the scene is over. They're like, and he brings up she's happy with him again. He was, he thought it was over, but now she's all happy. And then he brings up
giving her a high five, and she's like, you really saved me out, Larry,
Yeah. And then
really
he's like, I was asking people about Rachel and the rug merchant. And she's like, oh, what? I don't think it exists. And then, or Schmite. Last week's episode, she said, I got a Schmite. He's like, I don't.
He said, I don't know that word. He said it a couple times. I don't really know what that is.
I don't think Schmite is a thing. And then she's like, all right, well, look, I got to get out of this wig. It's killing me. And he's like, you know what? I don't think I've ever seen your real hair. And then on the night of the Oscars, this aired this night as the Oscars. She screams at him, I have alopecia, you asshole. And she storms off, and he's like, don't, Schmite. Don't
schmites.
I mean, it just.
What does the Oscars have to do with anything?
Well, that was we find out in a couple minutes here, like the whole Will Smith, Chris Rock thing, right? Because he said that. Why can't it?
Oh,
Jada
that's
Pinkett
when he smacked her. Yeah. Okay.
He
Yeah.
smacked,
I forgot about
he smacked, that. Yeah. Oh, that was the whole thing. Wait. We'll get there. We'll get there. There's another funny scene where they're at the golf course again. He's playing with Lori Loughlin again, and she got their tea time moved up. And Larry's like, "How'd you do that? I can never get." They said they were full, and she's like, "Oh, I was nice to the starter." And Larry goes over to him and he says, "How did Lori Loughlin get a tea time move?" And he says, "Well, I can think of 50 reasons," which I thought was pretty funny. So, like, yeah, she's bribing people again. And then she lies about her score because she's like, "Oh, I got a 5." He's like, "You got a 5? You got your ball? You found your ball?" Like, if you hit the ball into like the rough, say, and you can't find it, it's like a stroke penalty in golf. And she's like, "Oh no, I found it." And he's like, "Oh, you got a 5, huh?"
It's just like when Larry was like, when he hit that guy, he was supposed
right.
to
He wanted
gone back.
Right. He
and
was supposed to
taken
go back to the tee. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love it. Like, if you know golf, or whatever, if you don't know golf, maybe you don't get this joke. But she said, "Oh yeah, I had a good lie." He's like, "Yeah, you had a good lie," and that's like a golf term. Like you play,
Yeah.
you play it where it lies, and stuff like that. But
And he's like, "You had a good lie."
so, anyways, Larry's driving by the billboard as a second dick, just like they wanted. So anyways, but meanwhile, they're at the theater. This is like the part I was just talking about. So they're waiting, Susie and Jeff are outside waiting for the play to start, Ted and Lori's play. And the guy says, "Hey, you're the lady with the dick." And she's like, "Oh, I can't believe that." Like, and she's like, "Go and say something. You can't let him get away with that." And so Jeff goes over and says, I have to do this for my wife. Just pretend I'm going to slap you. Or he says, "On the count of 3," or something like that. Like, move your head. It's like the lamest thing. How you could ever think that this was an actual slap. But yeah. So Jeff pretends to slap this guy, and Susie's like, it's exactly like Will Smith. And he even says, "Keep my wife's name out of your motherfucking mouth," which is what Will Smith said to Chris Rock at the Oscars. I mean, did they know? They must have known it was going to air the night of the Oscars, right?
I guess so. I mean, the kind of like, I thought the whole thing was funny. I didn't associate it with that.
Oh,
so not the right person to ask.
If you don't remember like that whole funny thing,
I do remember it now that you reminded me, but I didn't think about it not once in the 3 times that I watched it. So
well,
just went over my head, I guess.
So what the joke was that Jada Pinkett Smith was bald, right? Because she has alopecia or what, and he made a joke. Chris Rock,
I get it. I get it now.
Right.
I get it now. But
I'm just telling the world, right? So like, it's like a twofold joke.
Everybody else probably got it. I just didn't.
All right. So Larry goes in. He's sitting next to Cheryl at the play for Ted and I don't know if you noticed this. So like, they open the program, and Lori Loughlin, who is Mary Todd, I don't know what this play is about, but her bio
I think it's fake.
Is
it's
huge.
A fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her bio is huge.
Yeah, she like got herself,
which is like one paragraph.
Yeah, and like her picture's big, and like the playbill page 1 or page 3. Well, it's page 1. But yeah, it's all small. It's like she gets whatever she wants.
Yeah, she does. So anyways, so Larry's sitting there, and then the Chinese waiter from last episode, the fish stuck guy, sits right in front of him. And Larry's like, "Oh, aren't you the waiter from the chips?" And he says, "Yes." He said, "How's the fish?" And he gives him the same line about the fish is fine. The fish is downtown, or go to a restaurant downtown. Yeah.
And I wonder if maybe that he is telling the truth and they are going to go to that other restaurant maybe by the end of the season and the fish will be there. I'm
Yeah,
sort of wondering that.
maybe. And now that it's almost like Chekhov's fish, right? Like I thought that was going to be a one-off, but now they have brought it up twice,
Right. Chekhov's fish.
just like Chekhov's finale. But I love it. Larry says, Lincoln would free the fish. This is great. And they do the fish stock thing again.
Fish stuck. Fish dead.
Fish fine. So and then the waiter hangs his jacket over the back of the chair, but he does it poorly. He doesn't do it beautifully. He doesn't drape it beautifully like Larry did. And Larry's
And
like,
he has
"Hey, what are you doing?"
it's a longer coat. It's like a floor length coat.
Yeah, and it's in his area. So
And he goes, "You didn't drape this beautifully."
yeah. So Cheryl tells them to shut up. So then the play goes along and we get to the Gettysburg Address scene. And Larry, because of all his memorizing of the Gettysburg Address has been while he's been peeing, it makes him have to go to the bathroom. And he's like, I have to get up. And Cheryl's like, just hold it. It's almost over. He's like, and then I love it. He says, it's bad.
Oh man, I hate feeling like that. That
Yeah,
is the worst. When you
it is.
absolutely cannot. You're in a car or something, and you're like, "This is bad. I really, really need to go." You start like looking around, like, "Can I like pull over and like just piss off guardrail over there or something?" Like, I'm in pain. I'm in pain.
Yeah, I remember when I was sick, like back, with the Wegners, I was on some antibiotics that made me have to go a lot. And like, yeah, it was painful. Sometimes it would just come out of nowhere. It was just like, I'd just be like, oh my God, I have to go. So yeah, I know how he feels. We all know how he feels. So he gets up, but he tries to get up because he can't wait. And his foot gets stuck on the guy's jacket, the waiter's jacket. And he says, foot stuck. That was great. Instead of fish stuck, it was foot stuck. And then he tries to like yank it out and he falls. Then, we assume the worst happened. As soon as Ted gets to the end of the Gettysburg Address, Larry obviously pissed himself.
He did, because in the caption it says urinating sounds.
And even Ted on stage dressed as Lincoln goes, Larry, come on.
Yeah, so what the fuck? Come on, man.
Come on, man. And Cheryl is there watching. Like everybody's watching. But so the sort of the final scene
He's going to drive home. And I was worried about his pants. I mean, they got to be soaked with piss, right?
Yeah. I don't know if this is right after. Maybe this is another night. But in the next scene, whatever, I don't know. He's driving home and he sees a billboard for Sienna Miller's movie that he watched with her earlier. And someone drew a dick in her mouth.
Yeah, and he goes, oh.
And he makes a U-turn to go back and look at it, and a cop pulls him over. She's like, "Sir, do you know that was an illegal U-turn?" And he's like, "Well, I had to see that. I went on a date with her." And I love the cop says, "You're like 50 years older than her." He's like, "Yes, there is an age difference, but she wanted to go out with me. She pursued me," he said. So yeah, he's explaining the whole thing. Like explaining everything, because you know how Larry does. He explains like every little thing that he doesn't have to do with that. So I wanted to take a picture of it. Yes, I took an illegal U-turn.
Yeah, he's just trying to be honest with the cop, like he's just like, this is what happened.
Yeah. And then the cop sees the cans of spray paint in the back seat, and she's like, "Sir, what? I mean, that looks like evidence that you did this. That you graffitied the billboard." She said, "We've been having a lot of billboards with graffiti on them." And she sees the spray paint. She thinks it's him. He says, "Oh no, I used that to paint not on the on the all you can eat sign." Because and she's like, "You just admitted to a crime." She said, "You're under arrest." And he's like, "No, I can't draw a dick. Maybe a breast." And then, like, yeah, they arrested him, and he says, "I didn't know she had alopecia."
Being hauled off. And that's
Yeah.
the end scene. That's the end
That's
of that.
that's the end of the episode. So now he's getting arrested again. But I don't know. This isn't for something good. I mean, this is for. But it was funny too because he admitted He admitted doing it. He admitted painting the spray painting the sign. So I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
But
And Leon left the spray paint in the car. And one of the cans was yellow, even though they didn't,
I know they didn't use
But
it.
the yellow is, because yellow is on Sienna Miller's movie sign.
Right. The dick
big
was yellow. Yeah. I wonder if we're gonna find out like who was doing this, or if it's part of anything, or what.
Yeah, who knows?
Who painted
You
these
think
dicks?
Larry did it?
Well, I don't think he did it. Well, he obviously didn't do it to Susie's because he thought it was a great. He would have. I'm sure he would have just admitted it if he did it. But,
Yeah, he would have been all proud.
Yeah, he would have said, "Look, I your business, doubled, but this is gonna be. I mean, this obviously, getting arrested and all these legal troubles, and I don't know how it's gonna all work out."
In the finale.
In the finale,
The Seinfeld finale, Chekhov.
Seinfeld finale. Yep,
Seinfeld
Chekhov's finale. Yeah, man, we're getting down there, and let's just see how it
Down
goes.
to the wire.
Down to the wire, definitely. I mean, this was episode 6. The next one is episode 7, and they're doing 10. We said, right? So
Yeah, we're almost at the end.
yeah, man, it's a little sad.
Yeah, it's sad. Last week we were sad for Richard Lewis, and this week we're sad for other reasons.
Well, I mean, different kind of sadness.
The inevitability of it.
Yeah, the end of Curb. Just so you know, the quick.
Well, it's like, you know what it's like? It's when we met up the other day, it was like talking about like the tragic death of somebody, and then a double whammy day where the tragic death of our comic book store.
Yes.
The same thing. It's like two sad things. They're not the same.
No.
Like, keep saying that it's not the same. Still sad. That's all. Still sad. Still at the same time. Tragic death of Richard Lewis. Tragic death of the show. Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah. Not the same, but
not the same. Not the same.
So, just according to IMDb, the next episode is called The Dream Scheme. It says, an acquaintance from the club asked too much of Larry. Jeff and Freddie both use Larry's tactics to get out of unwanted obligations. I don't know what all that means, but we'll find out next week.
Well, Larry keeps saying, too, like, he said it like a couple times this season. It's like, I don't like to be asked for favors. Don't ask me for favors. Please don't.
So he must.
Like, that's a hell of a way to start a sentence.
That's right. He says that he hates asking for favors almost as much as he hates doing favors.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how that works out. I don't know. It sounds like he comes up with something, and Jeff and Funkhauser both use it. So
yeah, I can't wait. Well, and also, like, we need to have Freddie and Larry talk after they've been found out. Or, well,
that's right.
We don't even know if they know that they're found out.
Well,
you know what I mean?
All Larry has are some bricks saying that he was an asshole or whatever. But Freddie doesn't know. We don't know what happened to Freddie and what's her name, Cinderella there, the Disney woman. So, yeah, we'll have to see how they wrap that up. I hope there's at least a line or two in there about what happened. I have a feeling we will see Irma again. So,
oh, no doubt, no doubt.
Anyways, thanks for listening. I think that's about it. Don't forget, check us out, LeaguePodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And also check us out on YouTube. Post our episodes there. Clay posts our episodes. I shouldn't say we, because I don't have anything to do with it. But there's some content over there. Find us on YouTube as well.
But were it not 15 years ago, our forefather, Matt Durson, did not set up the YouTube account and then also graciously grant me access to it, would I not have a place to post our episodes for people to watch and listen along for free? And I declare this something or other.
A podcast of the people, for the people, and by the people.
And by the people. And they won't remember that we are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all the other places you get the podcasts, but they will remember that we used to cover comic books, and they'll remember that till the day they die. They'll remember what we did in these rooms.
Yes.
In our respective houses over these many years.
That's right. Now, all the different houses.
I think about that actually. Sometimes I'll reminisce. Like I remember like literally doing the first episode with you guys and I was in my roommate's closet. It wasn't a closet, but it was like a spare room, almost like you have right now. But I like didn't even have a place to do it, and I like had some janky microphone that I used for a long time. And then I remember that first day.
No, I do. I was in my apartment as well. I had a 1-bedroom, just me, all by myself. I lived there by myself, and yeah, it is crazy that it was that long ago. But yeah, and I lived in another apartment with someone. Now I own a home with that person. So yeah, changes. But yeah, thanks for listening, and yeah, go back and listen to all those years worth. Well, you don't have
but
to.
I think we should explore the idea of doing more Curbcast even after season 12 is over, because there's plenty of stuff out there that we have not covered.
It's true.
And,
it's true.
And there's even other like just Larry David things. I was thinking about that movie Clear History today. If you saw that.
Yeah, I have not seen. Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah, that might be a good one for not for make John watch, but we could do it for this show because it's basically a Curb movie, but
that
he doesn't play himself, and John Hamm's in it, and it's really funny.
Oh, very good, nice. Yeah, that's we should do that.
Continue the Curbcast even after our finale, unless something really wild happens in our podcast finale, which we will have to wait and see.
Maybe we'll have to wait and see. Maybe in 20 years, maybe 25 years, to do it. People will be like, boy, remember that finale? Remember that Curbcast finale? Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We will talk to you later. See you at the club.
See you at the club.